Hello everyone, I'm Ross from Retro Dream Beam. I'm a full-time eBay reseller. I've been doing this with my fiance for a couple years now. Please don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. I'm going to go through what's sold today on Thursday. The first thing is a Cottage Mills modular plastic container. This thing is just good for organizing a bunch of stuff. It's not a super crazy seller. I have a ton of different containers like this that I've grabbed throughout thrifting and such for my own personal board games that I organize stuff with. I usually get them as throw-ins. They'll have other items in them. I keep the clean ones. Like I said, I still have a bunch where I don't know if I should just sit down and list them. This only sold for $6.74 plus shipping, but for a small little container, that's not bad. I also know when I'm personally looking for containers, if I go to stores, they're actually pretty expensive to find the specific dimension you want. If, let's say, if I have a board game with 12 different little pieces that I want to put into this would actually be hard to specifically find, because I also like to put the board game components in these and then put them inside of the box. Also, we always do plus shipping, so I'm just going to mention it for the first item and not for the rest. We just don't do free shipping. Saves a bunch of time if I not mention it every single item. Next thing we sold was a flyer sheet for Pathfinder Adventure game. Yeah, right here. I think this is I'm not sure if this is their deck builder game or just one of their adventures. I think this is just one of their adventures mummy mask. Yeah, cool stuff like this, little reminders, unique items like this. It's literally just a little advertisement. They could have been handing this out at a convention. This could have been a throw-in into like a magazine or a booklet, but this sold for $13.12. Pretty cool to sell stuff like that. That's the stuff I kind of like to get, and people usually tend to throw that kind of stuff out. I get to make a little bit of money on it. Next up is a Pokemon poster. Maybe I'll just post it right next to me instead of unfurling it. You know what? I'll give it a try. I'll be very gentle. This is for Sword and Shield Evolving Skies. It was a super popular Pokemon set because of all the evolutions. This particular item had an interesting case because I had a couple of them and I relisted it without mentioning that it has like little, I don't know if you can see this, but little dinks on the side. It's really not a big deal if you unfurl it and look at it from a distance like a poster normally would be looked at. Definitely if it's framed, it's not an issue at all. But I understand and respect that Pokemon collectors are very serious about this stuff, and a lot of stuff can go for a lot of money. So I actually, they allow you to send 5 pictures and an initial message to the customer. I let them know, hey, I think it's totally fair. If you don't want this item anymore, here's some edgeware. I don't think it's a big deal. Like I just told you guys that if it's framed or from afar, they wanted a little bit more pictures, and then they said, you know what? It's really not a big deal. Go ahead and send it. It never hurts to send a message ahead of time. Sometimes I'm lazy to do it. This time, this item sold for $30. The return on this, if we have to eat the costs, would kind of suck. So it's probably going to go in one of those poster tubes. So I just let them know ahead of time. It's always good to be safe rather than sorry later. Who knows? Hopefully they're still not upset when they see it in person. I think it looks worse in pictures. Then in person it was really hard with like one hand unfurling it, taking a picture, a correct picture, making sure it focused. I did a pretty good job at the storage unit, but yeah, I just want to let you know it was that's what happened, and that's how we dealt with it. Next up is one of the items I listed in the 500 items in 5-day challenge. This is a vintage Wilton heart cake pan set. Yeah, there you go. It sold for $10.50. I think my fiance got a bunch of these at a thrift store for either 50 cents or $1. We used to have pretty good luck selling cake pans. We would find them at Goodwill, I believe, and yard sales, as long as they're clean or we can clean them. And they have a pretty cool shape. People do love using things like these. Yeah, so $10.50 right there. Next up is a promo. It is, let me make sure, Felix Faust, a supervillain for the DC deck building game. This promo sold for $7.93. I have maybe one or two more, so I relisted this. It's a pretty cool item for the game. I've played this game a ton. It was one of the probably first 20 or so board games, modern board games I played. It's not necessarily a board game, it's a deck builder. You can play the game a ton, and it has a ton of replayability. This just adds another supervillain to make it more replayable. So yeah, people love to play that game, and then they want to add a little bit more. There's a couple of promos they can get. This one sold for $7.93. Next up is a set of 4 Star Wars miniature cards. These cards have stats for the Star Wars miniature game. Looks like early 2000s. This sold for $17.99. I guess I'm kind of surprised. I was hoping to take some offers on it. I mean, not hoping, but I put it up high just in case, and then I did get what I was asking for. It's just 4 cards. Hopefully they understand the miniatures aren't included. It's very clear in the pictures and the description. But whenever something sells for, like, I guess too high, I'm always like, hope they read. But yeah, or they're excited. They need these exact cards for their miniatures. They got ripped, damaged, and they don't want to memorize all the special abilities, all the stats, and they just want to have it on hand. Or they're a Star Wars collector, or they just collect cards and they like these characters. Who knows? So it hits multiple different categories, $17.99. Next up was a pretty cool combo order. It is one that these are items that we are never sad to pick up. They are extremely, dreadfully boring to list. This one right here is The War of the Austrian Succession, a Wargamer's Guide. I forgot what all the other subtext is. And then here's another one right here. This is part 6. I think the first one I showed was part 8. This is probably from, I have it sealed up right now, so I can't check, probably like 70s or 80s. It's going to probably be some like rule set for how to play historical miniatures. Yeah, this stuff kind of sells well for us. I'm not even sure if these are handmade. I have 2 of each, so I took the second one home, so I'm going to repicture it. There's my second one right there. I'm going to repicture it, sell similar. Same thing with this one right here. I also had a note in my custom SKU list to relist these, so it's cool that I got a combo order of $30 on something that I know most other people would think is garbage, and a lot of people pass by this stuff. Probably got it for like a quarter or 50 cents in a big bulk buy. Sold for $40 right there for 2 items for a combo order. Next up is the Making of Dungeons and Dragons movie. Not the modern one, an older one. I don't think I've ever seen this movie. This sold for $7.50. We love selling weird RPG books and such like this. This is just like the making of a movie. It's not a huge price point that we got, but it's really easy to list, and it was easy to store, and it's going to be easy to ship. Next up is what I would consider for myself lucky that I sold. This is not my skill set. This is a framed art print right here. This is like a Victorian maiden lady with her hats on and her flowers in her arm on the tree branch. This is, 12 inches by 5 1/4 inch. I personally think selling art is hard. You have to know like the artist. You really have to know who's looking for it. I like to tell a story with my listings. Not like super poetic, but I like to have like the front picture be nice and the rest of the pictures have like an order of like you're seeing the item from all corners, you're seeing the back. You want people to, or at least in my head, I want people to be looking at the item through pictures as best as they could, as if they're in person where they would look at it, make sure there's not damage on the 4 edges. They go to the back, see what it's about. If it's something that they want in super good condition, they will check like the sides and stuff, make sure there's not gunk or marks on it that they don't want to be there. This sold for $19.99. We do pick up a small amount of art. I wouldn't say big or a lot or medium, but a small amount. We do sell it slowly, so I was glad that sold. I was glad it sold for my asking price of $19.99. Like I said, I feel very out of my element listing it. I think my fiance has a good eye for art, so she definitely grabs the stuff that does sell. So without her eye, I would not be able to even think about listing that kind of stuff. Alright, next up is an anime poster. I don't know what anime this is from. Evangelion, I probably just butchered that. I'm just not even going to try any further. This sold for $20.99. Got this with a bunch of Japanese movie posters, anime art prints like this. This one's pretty big. This sold for $20.99. Next up is another brochure. This one's California official highway map from 1966 right here. It has a pretty cool front and back. This folds out. This was not part of the 500 items over 5 days, even though I did list a bunch of brochures. This was an older one. This sold for $8.75. Next up is a book I had multiples of. This is the last one, Mad Dogs and Englishmen, Colonial Wargaming in Times When the Sun Never Set. It's very dramatic right here. It's going to have a lot of rules. It's going to have painted miniatures, maybe some guides. This sold for $12. I do like selling stuff like this, miniature rule sets. We had a couple other that sold today. They do fairly well. They are niche, and there aren't as many of these listed on eBay, I believe, so I think we get decent money as long as they're in good condition, and we take pictures of the good condition. The final item that sold for today is a Marvel Overpower card. I believe this is a rare. I'm not sure. I'm not 100% sure. This one is an Any Hero Confusion card. It has Wolverine fighting someone. I can't really tell from it right now. It says on the card that you can only have one of these per deck. I've never played the game. I had some of these cards in the 90s when I was a kid, literally not old enough to understand how to play the game. I just liked the characters. This one sold for $8. Normally I lot up lots of cards rather than to go through them individually, but I do usually take some time if I feel like some things look notable to me, like they're rare or that I haven't seen them as much. I got a bunch of overpowered cards, and these ones I think I only had one of, so I was like, you know what, I have to actually look them up to make sure that they are not worth going in bulk and worth listing individually. And they were. There was a little pile of them. I sold most of the individuals. $8 for this one. That is everything for today, which is Thursday. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and if you would like to help support us in the channel, take a look at our shop below. Have a good one.